I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Roll call attendance. Ladies. Thank you. Mr. Meyer. Unmute yourself, please.
Here.
Alana. Here. Sir Debbie.
Here.
Julie. Here. Tom.
Here.
Terry.
Here.
Paul.
Here.
Karen. Here. Steve.
Here.
We're all here. Keep it simple. I'm changing the order of the meeting tonight because we have people who have open houses and children and things like that. I'm gonna go jump right to old business, and I'm gonna turn at this juncture over to Mr. Averdale. We're gonna discuss the Grove Street Playground, but there's a piece of business that we need to get out of the way before we go into the details of the playground, if you'd be so kind, sir.
Mark, you want to put that, the overview of the playground? So, how detailed do you want me to go here? Do you want me to go into the equipment, or you just want me to talk about?
No, I just want you to talk about the bridge.
Okay, so on the Grove Street parcel, the town owns a portion of land, and one Mark was about pointed out to you. There's a parcel of land. So what you see highlighted in green is what the town currently owns for the parcel. The parcel to the north, which is just above it, is not a parcel of the land that the town owns. And that's the parcel where the bridge is also. That I believe Steve can correct me, but I think the select board took a vote to accept it.
Yes.
It's just the purchase and agreement to transfer title haven't happened yet. So this plan has nothing to do with that parcel at this juncture, and will be a future endeavor.
And or the bridge.
And with the bridge.
We're not gonna deal with the bridge tonight.
And if I could just caution you a little bit, so this is a schematic, okay, it's not a survey plan. So the location of the stream and stuff like that, the location of property lines can be off because it's taken from Google Earth and it's not the maps. So things could be off a few feet here and there, because most of that stream is on the other parcel. So more today is more the concept of the park and what we're gonna do with that.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna talk about the bridge, that means you're not gonna do anything to the bridge until we talk about it.
It's not our land. We cannot talk about the bridge.
Okay.
We don't own it. We can't play with it.
Even though Charlie Castanova put that bridge.
I don't care if Charlie and Alice Brisky had children on it.
Well,
We cannot touch the bridge until there is a proper title and transfer, as well as any liability issues that we don't want to inherit from that. So this is a while before we get there.
okay, so nothing's going to be done with the bridge.
Let me repeat myself, Mrs. Ivory. You never know me not to be direct. We're not dealing with the bridge at all.
Thanks.
It still takes a shortcut to town.
Mark, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, good.
You wanna hop over it? Great. You wanna drone over it? Have a ball. Now what I would like to do, I would like to introduce Julie Andejar and Sir Debbie Reddy. There's something poetic about the way that comes out. Who have spent probably since January going over and working with Joe and Ty and Bond and myself. And what you've got 3 pieces of paper. You've got the map. And then on page 2, you have a rendering of the equipment going left to right, and then you have a rendering of the equipment going right to left, okay? And so basically, I'm gonna let the ladies explain what they did and go through it. So Debbie, Julie?
Okay, so just as an overview, the commission is tasked with redesigning the playground at Grove Street Park. What was in place at the time was deemed dangerous and just structurally unsound, so they were removed. And so we organized a public input session at the end of May to get feedback from the community members as to what they would like to see happen with the space. So we took all of that into consideration. What we learned was that many members of the community wanted to maintain and preserve the park's feel as like a very zen space. They wanted the structures, the new structures, to be good for children very young children of differing capabilities physically, and older children. We worked within a very constrained budget, and we did a lot of research. And another issue was that we were to, as much as possible, look for equipment that was made of natural materials. So we took all of those things into consideration. We also had some park surveys that were filled out by some members of the community. And we did some research with different equipment manufacturers. We went to the park, took measurements, looked at the space, and considered placement. And together with Mr. Aberdale and Teagan Bond, the engineers, we came up with a possible plan to bring to the commission, which needs to approve the structures, the budget, and all of the other details. So what we're presenting here is just what we feel might as closely adhere to the community's requests for this space. So we looked at replacing what was a very small platform structure with a slightly expanded one that includes not only a slide, but a platform, some space underneath with a little counter, some overhand swing monkey bars, and another little climbing feature on one of the sides. This is also, all of this material is made out of black locust, which is a very durable and tough material. It's wood, and the slide component is plastic, which we also had a request to not use metal on the slides just because of the heat. The other component, and this platform structure is adequate for 2 to 5 year olds. We then looked at a climbing structure that would be good for also very young and much older children. It's a 17-foot high rope tree climber. And then we looked at the possibility of 2 springers. So these coil rockers that there used to be one at Grove Street. And so we just added, we thought maybe 2 would be really nice. And basically we positioned it so that it would kind of fit, just be adjacent to where the swing area is. And you can see on the map up front, the Teagan Bond drawing, yes. So it's just that kind of tan area to the left of the tree.
You see the line of the 3 dots, that's the swing.
Yeah, and I would probably, I would venture to say that it might not be the final positioning of the structure.
Close enough for government.
Yeah, and the swing set will remain as is. When we asked one of the manufacturers if the swings themselves could be replaced, like the seats to like accommodate an ADA swing, we were told that as long as the superstructure was by the same company, then that could be a possibility, but that would have to be negotiated between DPW and the company that we're going to use, hopefully, and approval by the commission. And that's basically it in a nutshell.
I'm gonna go out of normal. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, or issues? And then I can give you an idea what the budget is for this. Mrs. Ivory,
What is the time frame for this? I mean,
next spring. The lead time on ordering the equipment is 12 to 16 weeks. So if we order it now, it won't even come until mid-February. Okay, I will tell you that the budget for this, at this point, and this includes installation by Compan Big Toy. If Mr. Aberdale has enough people and can do it next spring, they will do it next spring, okay? But the total cost, including freight, for these 4 items, not including mulch, not including the parking area, not including anything else, is $76,000. the installation alone on these pieces is $22,000. Now, if we can do it in-house, we will do it in-house. But I am going to ask that we have a motion to the committee to fund it as it being installed by Compound Big Toys, just whatever, because anything we don't have to pay for, we can probably enhance and put other pieces in for it. Understood? Julie, any questions or concerns with that?
No.
Sir Debbie?
I have a question.
Good.
Doing it in-house would be sooner or later than doing it with Compton.
The installation will be in spring regardless.
Next spring, no matter what. Yeah.
One little other question, is it possible to get a steering wheel on the play structure? Cause that was like a big element, the imaginary play that the kids.
I am sure that somewhere within a catalog,
I would think.
that piece of equipment, and I'll tell you what I'll do. If we find it, Jerry Garcia Day will buy it. How's that?
Perfect.
All right?
What was that equipment?
Any other questions, concerns, or issues? There's also special mulch that has to be put down with this. Also, Mr. Berensky, can you put the overhead schematic up?
Couple questions online.
Okay. Jonah Cohen, what would you like? Okay, if you notice, these parking spaces are there. These would be put in.
Hello?
Because if we are going to have a park that is not neighborhood based, that is town based, we need to have places and spaces for people to park. It's also traffic coming. One moment, Jonah, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to raise my hand earlier. I wasn't trying to vote on what you put in. I missed. Why was it removed? My kids, when it was, and we haven't had these structures all summer, my kids played on them every day and I walked on them. They seemed perfectly solid to me.
Right, let me repeat this, and I'm not gonna repeat it again because we've gone
Yeah.
through this. Ty and Bond, the engineering, were hired to evaluate it. They
Yeah.
told us it was dangerous and then it needed to be removed. Therefore, it was removed.
Okey doke.
I go with engineers usually on this type of stuff. Rachel Siegel.
Hi, Rachel Siegel. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I live at 81 Grove Street, and my question is: so with this new plan, is the bench and the small memorial to a young man named Richard Morey going to remain? Because that's something I know his mother was concerned about. He was killed in a car accident many years ago on Route 7.
any existing memorial structures within that park will stay. They will not be removed.
Great.
If they have to be moved or readjusted, perhaps, but nothing is going to leave.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Mr. Coons,
What's the cost to upgrade or renovate the basketball or pickleball court?
that we're looking at this point because we have to move it, that could be somewhere around $50,000, which is not included in this. This has been separately, whatever, we may need to move and adjust that so that we can have a pickleball court there. And if the pickleball court would be, the engineering for it is something that you actually sink it into the court. It can be moved and put a cover over it so you could use it for basketball or bike riding or whatever. So it's multi-use. But we're not at that point yet. We're still looking at that. Yes,
Just another question about the timeline, like you say spring, but is it really a priority that like this is gonna happen as soon as, you know, the ground is ready? Because my child was on the playing on it like almost every day, and a year is a long time in a child's life. So, like,
I understand that, but we have considerations of a lot of things. Number one, are we gonna be able to do it in-house? Number two, if not, what is the construction issue with Compound Big Toys? What's their subs doing? There are a lot of different things. I'm hoping, my target don't hold me to it, is July 4th that everything's functional within the park for the playground. That's what I'm looking at, reasonable. Okay, that may not sit well with you, but there's a brand new park you can use back here. There's a new park at like Mansfield, I would suggest, and there's also a park up at the school. Those areas can be used. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
So I'd like to ask, are we gonna go back and talk about the new parking lot, the addition you just mentioned?
Yeah, what would you like to talk about?
Well, like, some of us have questions as to why it's happening. Right now, the new existing line is rarely used, hardly anyone ever uses the pickleball courts, so we don't quite see the need for additional parking when no one's parking there as it is now.
I understand that, but we've had the same problem with other issues. What we want to do is if you build it, they will come. We want to make sure that the parking is there so the street does not get jammed up on. If all of a sudden this has got brand new and people are starting to come and the pickleball gets done, we want to do it ahead of it.
Well, I understand that, but so far what we did put in did not attract anybody.
Well, that's because we had to take everything out.
No, I'm talking about the parking lot.
The pickleball court is not even functional at this point. The lines are painted, but there are a lot of issues with the macadam and the stuff that has to be redone. That's something that's gonna, and we haven't advertised it as a pickleball area at this point. There's no equipment there and stuff like that.
But it's a small street to begin with. I can't imagine that we would have.
Well,
sudden-
I understand you may not want to imagine it, but I can tell you from a perspective of living here for 40 years, all of a sudden you build things and people show up.
Well, that's a-
Mrs. Coombs.
Can I just say something about the parking lot? For years, I live directly across from the park. I look at that park every day.
Yeah.
And I have watched for years, young mothers come up to go to the park and have to take their kids out of their cars on that street it's a small street. You never know. You never know that if you're gonna get a car coming or something like that. Now they can drive into a parking lot and be safe. And trucks, we get more FedEx trucks and UPS trucks now. It's a dead end, and all of that kind of thing. Now they can take their kids out of the car and they can be safe taking them into the park.
I'm just questioning the additional need for more than what we have right now.
Better to have it than not have it needed.
Yes, sir, in the back.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Can you identify yourself?
Zachary Green.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've grown up next to that park. I walk in it every day. Seems a little aggressive, a lot of money to put into something for something that probably many people won't use. That's just me living here my whole life and seeing those roads, seeing that park.
what's aggressive, Jeff?
It just seems like it's a lot of money to be thrown at this. It doesn't seem like it should be thrown at it.
You mean putting in the playground equipment?
Yeah, I mean,
You can talk to some of the women here, I'll let them take care of that problem. I'm not getting into that, because
I want to, put that in
I
from an outsider's perspective.
I will tell you that if you look at the population of Great Barrington, there are a lot more people over 85 than there are under 7. So my whole point is, this is something that we can do for not a lot of money and have it that we've got now parking, and then there'll be grills and picnic tables and places that people can come and do, and enough open space.
Or the older people, are you saying? You said there's more older people than younger people?
What I'm saying is a park doesn't mean it's all playground. It needs to have other things.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about having picnic tables and barbecues and maybe upgrading the basketball courts so pickleball can be played, so there's a whole lot of other things that will be going on. We're not getting it all done at once.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, is there any aspect for accessibility built into this? I mean, for handicap accessibility?
there is a cement walkway that if you look at the backside of the tree, right there, you see where that is?
Mark's got it.
Right, yeah, right there. That would be a cement walkway that would give access to people who need it.
What I'm saying is parking, having a spot to park for
I'm
people
sure we can easily.
would be,
Yeah.
is important. That's why I see the parking is a problem. Parking on the street, and if you can, I think if we can provide
Great.
spots,
That
it's a
will
good
happen.
idea.
Yes, ma'am.
Martha Archambault, 17 Grove Street. My concern is how this whole project took off with the pickleball to begin with. Where's the paperwork that said that this was needed at that park at this time, when it was done? The second is that I've read online and in different articles, how pickleball is actually dangerous for the elderly, ankle. There's injuries, if they use the paddles and the balls that are allowed on the courts, it's a noise issue. So. So why is this park all of a sudden the place to go? When it was a beautiful park with the equipment it had, not that they shouldn't have been taken down if they were dangerous. But as we talked the last time, there's a brook that runs by that is beautiful. And all this is doing is taking away from that.
I'm confused.
Why
Yes,
is the
ma'am.
natural beauty of that park not being what's showcased?
What are we doing that's not natural beauty based? We're using natural,
Parking lots. There's a Habitat house there that when people finally do move in there, they have a parking lot next to their parking. I mean, I don't understand what you don't understand.
I guess what one of the things that we're concerned about, this is a very little street.
yes.
It's a very little street with a small park, and now we're gonna be having pickleball, which is very, very noisy. You're talking about putting grills in, and there's another park that's at the courthouse. Why isn't that being used? It's like this, you're putting all these different kinds of things in a small park that is our park.
Wait. Here's the problem. The word "our" is not
I'm a
good.
citizen. It's a great.
It's a town park.
It's a town park.
Yeah.
And we're citizens of Great Barrington.
Who pay
And
taxes.
who pay taxes, and it's right, and we have the right to say that this shouldn't be, like, when you started talking about putting grills and all this other stuff, like, what? That takes away from the beauty. We're gonna have all these people come, and the pickleball has been a big problem in small neighborhood parks because it's very noisy. Very noisy, and I don't understand why it has to be in this particular park. I mean, is there no other parks have it in? It's like,
Alana,
if you're gonna put it somewhere and you're gonna have to redo it, why this park?
So what I'm hearing from a lot of you is that you have a lot of very strong, reasonable concerns about the way that this park is going to change. That is a really reasonable thing to feel about the way that this park is changing. But what we have been tasked with doing is to figure out for the whole community, the ways that the whole community needs to change to accommodate the whole community. And so I understand that there are some changes that are happening to this particular park that feel very different than the way that the park has been up to this point. And they are valid concerns, they are important, and we are here to hear them. But also, it is a much bigger conversation, a much bigger community that is trying to accommodate the needs of a lot of different citizens with a lot of different needs. Which
Full-time citizens?
Yes.
People that live here.
Yes,
So
actually,
where is the paperwork that said that this is what they
so
want?
there have been surveys that have been put out. And there is a meeting that happens here monthly where this kind of thing is discussed over and over again. Not just in regards to this park, but in regards to all of the parks that we have been tasked with looking at. And so your concerns about pickleball in a very small community and parking structures that are gonna change the nature of how the park is used is very, very important, which is why it's so great that you are here to discuss this. But it is gonna change. The community is changing and the parks need to change to accommodate the needs of the community. So we need to figure out as a whole community how to make sure that everyone's voice, everyone's needs are discussed, and also that the way that this particular park is used isn't limited to just the people that live within walking distance. And that's a very challenging thing because many of us drive to get to the park and many of us get the benefit of being able to walk to the park. Yes, full-time year-round residents that live here, we know that the demographic has changed and continues to change. And so the more people that are involved in this decision-making process, the better off we are.
So the walking path and the bridge will remain, so they have access that way.
Don't worry about that.
So that's beyond the scope of this meeting, but I think that these things are really important to talk about. I have similar concerns about pickleball courts and parking places, but I also have had the experience of seeing something in my park change, feeling very shocked by it, and finding that sometimes those changes actually change for the better, but it's really different.
Mr. Coons,
From what I see the plans, I commend the commission for the work they've done, but having been familiar with this park for a long, long time, my wife grew up on that street, my grandmother grew up on Warren Avenue, was a member of the Grove Street Ladies Thimble Club. These look like very minimalist changes to what I can go back in my simple mind and remembering what that park or playground was always like. The equipment area where you're putting in the equipment is not taking up any more space now than the equipment that had been there for years and years and years. The parking area to the immediate, the south of the existing court, that was blacktop before. It was torn up and made into the park because people were driving down the bank to park on that
It was a basketball
blacktop.
court.
I know what it was, but it was blacktop. And people were driving down the bank to get to it.
Yes.
Joe did a great job in making that into a good parking area, and the expansion of it, I don't see as taking up or degrading the park at all. I think I agree that it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And the changes itself to the court area are very minimalistic.
I'll get there. Hold it. No, I right here, the gentleman with the hat, with the Georgia hat.
Yes, Christian Sparks, 4 Warren Avenue. So we have the house just south of the proposed picnic tables and barbecue. I just wanted to say that, we're in support of these plans as is. And actually, one thing I've been thinking about as we've been talking about this parking is, to these ladies' point, the current parking, I think, is a little bit underutilized. Street parking is still there. The current parking is kind of tight. I actually think that if we do this plan and open it up a little bit more, it might be more utilized. It seems like there's gonna be more space for folks to actually pull in and use it rather than just, park on the street as they've been doing.
Yeah, I think the whole idea of the parking on the street is badness. It's too thin and it's too narrow. Right here, the green sweater and then the glasses behind you.
Yeah, I'm Megan Colon on 37 Grove Street, right across the street. And I don't like it when people park in front of my house either,
Yeah.
because they're parking on the street. But I do just wanna, I actually have a different experience with the parking lot. I feel like it's actually quite spacious. Like I've seen like 7 cars parked in that parking lot before. So if our goal is to get to 9, I'm also not necessarily too keen on the addition of the parking lot. Like I just want to offer it as data that I do think that up to like 7 cars can fit in that parking lot, like relatively comfortably as it is already.
Well, except for 4, but.
With
that's
the,
okay.
I know there's probably regulatory issues around that, but
Yeah.
that's how it's used. There are
That's
a lot
okay.
of people that can fit in that. All right.
Lady with the glasses, straight behind. No, yeah, yes.
I'm Hannah Kenny, I live at 9 Pines, so, beautiful walking distance with 2 small kids to Grove Street Park. My question is, and this is gorgeous work and doubtless hours and hours of research. Are we past the place where we can make any of this to like reel this back a little bit and not go for gold on every detail of this? Like, is it possible just to get a small replacement for the thing that was taken out? Because I am here also because of the lack of a steering wheel. It's a small thing, but that's what we desperately miss. And that is what makes small hearts happy. And all I'm looking for is like a small slide in the steering wheel again. And again, I know all of this costs so much money and so much effort and many, many months. And so my question is there like a smaller, lesser version of this that is all possible with this, or have we passed that point where we're like talking $75,000 and nigh?
I'm gonna tell you, have you seen the park over at Lake Mansfield?
Yeah.
That's 58,000 just for those items.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't care what and how you do things. When you go into this type of arrangement,
It's all or nothing.
and the other thing is if you take a little bit and then you ship it, the freight on this is almost $7,000. If we break it down, it starts to get nuts.
And I was just gonna say, as a person who has whose children have aged out of a lot of the little stuff, the fantasy of being able to have a family picnic at a picnic table where my small children can play on a structure and my big children can do anything, like climb anything, is like magic. So just for the families that have little ones who are planning to stay there for a while, just to think a little bit about that. Here, we've got one more.
Yes, ma'am.
So Alessandra Priscilla, 25 Grove Street. So going back to the parking a little bit and what you, well, hold on. And what you spoke about before, and I appreciate that it's not just our neighborhood park, that it's a community, but we are also part of the community. And, it sort of feels like already it's a fait accompli. And it doesn't feel like we were, I don't know where the survey, I don't remember ever getting a survey. But nonetheless, our only feedback has been now and the previous meeting. So it feels like this is a done deal. And this doesn't feel like he really reached out to everybody, especially I would think you want to talk to people most impacted. And I feel that we were not talked to at all.
Yes.
So I'm concerned about the process. I'm concerned about the whole pickleball thing. I mean, unless the community was clamoring to have a pickleball court on Grove Street, I'm not quite sure why our park was chosen for that.
Yeah.
And not our park, the community park.
I think there are two pieces just to address quickly. One is the first piece is that there have been clamorings for all sorts of things. Pickleball is one, and steering wheel is definitely another. Well, not specifically, but again, we have lots of factors to consider, and so the idea is to someplace in the town, looking at all of the wide open space, all of the green space, all of the existing structures, all of the places where courts could be put in, and to do the best we can to assess where good options are. So that being said, I think that one of the longer term questions that we've had, I've certainly had conversations with a number of people in this room, is how to get the community involved in a way that it doesn't feel like things have already been decided for you. So this conversation about this park has been going on for a very, very long time. And I know that I didn't get involved in what was happening here at the parks until there was something that was specifically relevant to me. And I don't know what to do about that other than to continue to reach out to the community in the ways that we are trying, and to accept any suggestions about more ways to get the community involved with all of this decision making. But we would like impact from the input from the community, but at some point we also need to move forward in making decisions. And
So this is a big, this is a done deal.
well, certain pieces of it have been decided, and other pieces of it are still in progress.
We have not voted.
We have not voted, yeah.
It's not a done deal.
Yeah.
Mrs. Cohen.
I'm probably the only person here that can say, I've watched that park for 70 years. I grew up on that street. I bought my mother's house and moved back to that street. The park has undergone many, many changes in those years, many changes. I watched them cut down trees to make that open space better. At one point, my father flooded the tennis court, which you know with the pickle courts in it, so we could ice skate on it. I mean, it's gone through change after change. She talks about pickleball being noisy. You should have been there when we had basketball courts, and it was going until 11 o'clock at night, which is noisier than pickleball ever thought it'd be. I mean, it undergoes changes, and I think that's important. And I'm here mainly because I didn't want it turned into just a playground. I want to keep it a park, for one thing. And the other thing is I wanted to stand up for Joe, because I have gone online and listened to the Friends of Grove Street, and it's not dismal and dreary. It is a wonderful, magical place for kids and adults. And I just want it to stay that way. I mean, I don't mind putting in some equipment. I don't want a playground, but I don't want it called dismal and dreary. And I went on the internet and that's what they called it.
Mr. Coons, and then I'll go in the back.
If the neighbors directly across from the court are concerned about potential noise and stuff, could you consider that grass strip along Grove Street, putting some sort of vegetative screening, some sort of natural screening in there that
There's all
that
sorts
might
of stuff.
alleviate some of the noise?
Yeah, great.
Back.
I was just gonna speak up for Friends of Grove Street Park, because we didn't call it dismal and dreary, but another citizen who commented on our announcement about, come to the meeting and speak about the park, might have said that. Oh, and I had an idea. Somebody said, how do we find out about this? Why don't you reach out to the community? I had a great idea for where would you reach out if you wanted to tell people who use a park about a meeting coming up at the park? put a sign up in the park.
Yeah.
And then if
They
people
did.
visit it.
We did.
We'll see the sign. You did?
Where?
When?
On the tables.
I put that there this month.
She put it on there.
Part of the problem is this has been ongoing for almost 3.5 years. And these meetings are every month and the agendas are put up every month. With all due respect, I'm not gonna go to each one of your doors and knock on your doors and say, oh, please come. If you have some sort of activity, you have to take some sort of initiative. You know? So I think that's helpful. One more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanna thank Alana because that was a very good way to put it and understanding. And I just, the pickleball thing, just, is the pickleball court a done deal? Because.
No, we're not even voting on that tonight.
Okay, can I just say something? Because last time we talked, you guys gave this amazing presentation and you had talked about the courthouse. That has a lot of space there.
Parking
And a lot of parking.
Parking, yeah.
And more people would be able to go and use pickleball. So I'm just saying, you know, let's not spend the money to make that a place, but spend it to make it a really good pickleball. You could even do a double pickleball thing.
That may be the answer, and I'll tell you what the interesting, I just went to Lenox, they just put in 4 pickleball courts behind the Lenox Community Center.
Yeah.
$495,000 for 4 courts, okay? That's what it would cost to put in, so half of that for 2 courts. What we were thinking about, and the reason this even came up, and it's not a done deal, and it's not part of tonight's conversation.
Okay, good.
We have a lot of different things we need to look at. Budgetarily, probably for 1/4 of that, we could probably get 2 courts functional. I don't know yet, but all we're dealing with tonight, okay, is the playground and the extra parking and that concrete walkway that'll go on the south side of it, on the brook side, in order to allow people to access the park who are mitigated for whatever reason.
Okay, so I just want to thank you guys that did this beautiful research. I don't think you get credit for all the work you do because you are, you know, part of the volunteer committee. So, and, you know, thank you. That was great. And look forward to talking more about pickleball.
And parking. And parking.
And allowing me to speak.
Mr. Ivory.
The current controversy notwithstanding, I want to acknowledge Joe and the DPW for the maintenance of the park. We lived there over a half century and we've seen maintenance, the ups and downs of care of the park. This has been really sterling and I thank that crew. They've been responsive, and courteous and timely. And the doggy bags are always in the container.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ivory, for bringing that.
Thank you guys for all the work on that and the planning and everything. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we meet every month. And we have a little thing at the end of it says citizen speak. You can come in and go for 3 minutes about anything you want. We wish you would come and get involved. But what we're dealing with tonight and what I would like the motion on, I'll tell you why. Let me just give you some of the financial stuff. If we order it at once and order it before the end of the year, we get a 20% discount off of it. We also get a 5% discount off the installation, which we don't have to depend on Joe to do. You understand what I'm saying? If he can, he will. But the problem is he's got seasonal stuff. Nobody knows exactly how and when. And I realize that people want to get this done as soon as we can. Welcome to my world when it's time to get the softball fields ready. I mean, you know, we're still dealing with 3 feet of snow and people are like, well, when are you gonna get the lawns mowed? You know, so sometimes it's a little problematic.
So, what cost did the motion have in it? Include, I assume you want to include the sidewalk and parking.
So the cost of Heron mentioned is $74,000.
76,183 includes all of the playground.
So rubbing the area out and putting the mulch is not included in that.
Right.
Which I know we can fit that little piece.
He can do that.
ourselves. you know, my hopes would be, as we get into the spring of the year, we manage our workforce, you know, again, we don't even know who we'll have for staff, if people are sick or whatever, so.
Right.
So, to answer your question, that's just the equipment and the installation of the equipment.
And the freight.
And the freight to get to it. So the parking, the grubbing of the area out, cut it out and putting the mulch back in, you're probably talking another $10,000 or $15,000.
Is that including the, sidewalk?
No.
No. No, we'll be up to $100,000 in order to get this.
I think it's important we do the sidewalk because it's handicap.
I agree totally.
So
If we're gonna do it.
as far as handicap accessibility too, the current parking is wrapped down
Right.
to the grade. So a wheelchair could get down to the grade, it's probably not the right slope, so we would correct that.
Which could be better.
Right. The sidewalk that goes in front of the court, you know, you wanna do that, and you have to actually make the court about 8 feet wider, I think, which is noted on that plan.
Yeah.
Actually get the two pickleball courts in there with the back.
We're not gonna do the pickleball tonight, so that's fine.
Yeah, we're just dealing with, we're just dealing.
So I'll try a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve from our capital, $100,000 to do everything on this plan except for the pickleball area, which is a separate item.
Second that.
Good discussion. Any discussion?
No.
We will do roll call vote. Where'd he go? He's gone.
He disappeared.
He left.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll call it because Bill was here, okay? It's the only way to do it. So a vote in the affirmative would be to approve the $100,000 to get
Bill's
this.
still listed here.
Bill Meyer, are you here?
I'm texting him.
This is what drives me crazy about Zoom. If you're gonna be in Zoom, then be there. If not, take a night. All right, I'm gonna call the vote. Alana,
Yes.
Yes.
Sir Debbie,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Terry,
Here, one vote.
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Karen, yes.
Yes.
Steve, yes. It's unanimous. Mr. Aberdale, I would suggest you talk to Miss Summer Baruby at Compan Big Toy and say, get that set up. We'll take on the rest of it as time goes on. Mr. Purdy.
Just one suggestion, and since you're not talking or considering the court area and what you're gonna do to that. You've got two informal, if you will, pickleball courts
Correct.
there, and I've seen several people using
Yeah.
them off and on, and I have no problem with that. My concern would be is if you formalize them and make them whatever you need to do with nets and everything, you may be attracting more players or even a league, if you will, more congestion up there to use them. I think the more you keep them on the informal type basis, the better off the neighborhood will be.
Well, I will tell you because I am one of those people that play pickleball. We have 2 courts in the Hoosie Dome, which has worked out quite well. There are also 4 courts that have been painted on at Monument Mountain. And we're just getting to the point where there'll be a way to share the equipment so people can go up and play as long as the schools are not having gym classes. Simon's Rock has also put in 4 pickleball courts. So, but you have to be a member and it costs $5, there's little whatever. I think at some point we may wanna, and I hear what you're saying, I understand that. But in December, nobody's gonna be playing pickleball there, I guarantee that, okay?
At least the pickleball area be like a gym floor where there's all sports included as it's painted.
It is there. The basketball is there, it's all painted.
Okay.
3-point line. Yeah, part of what I would love people to do is if you have questions about that, first of all, go look at the space.
You see it every day.
It's there. The basketball lines are painted. The 3-point arch is painted.
Okay, so one person can pick up a game of hoops. It's not a game.
They can't play.
I'm talking about marking it out like you would a gym floor when we were kids. So any sport that goes at that time.
You can also go play right down here at Memorial Field.
Okay, so now whoever plays basketball there now goes somewhere else. I'm saying make it utilized for everybody.
We haven't made any decisions.
I'm just
tonight.
saying,
Yeah,
that's something to think about, a
Yeah.
gym floor.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, in order to resurface that floor, if you wanna use it for basketball or pickleball or whatever, is a minimum of $50,000 to get it
I'm
resurfaced.
not for it, I'm just saying if it's gonna happen. there's
I
things to
understand
think
that.
about.
Yeah, make it multi-purpose.
Yes.
I agree.
Can I just say one thing?
Please.
I just wanted to address the comment you had made about, why we can't just put something cheaper in. We did look at a lot of different. Yeah, we looked at a lot of different things. Everything is very expensive. And the reason we did go with what we found was because we didn't wanna just put a cheap thing in that, you know, is plastic and that we have to replace in 2 years. So the goal was to find something more expensive and more sturdy and something that could completely and could last a long time.
Pompey big toy, okay? If you over and look at the Housatonic playground, that was put in 21 years ago. I know because I helped dig it in there and it's still very functional and hangs with the thing. So if we're gonna buy it, we're gonna buy good stuff. We're not gonna buy cheap crap, okay? We're gonna move on to the rest of the meeting.
Just one more question. When do you anticipate talking about the, bridge?
I'm not gonna talk about it at all. When and if the town makes an arrangement through the selectmen about getting it, that would be the first step, and then what would happen with the bridge would then come to the DPW and the Park and Rec.
Karen, first to the selectmen then, is that what you're saying?
It's already passed us.
Right, and what the next step is, we'll be told.
Karen, will you just reinforce for everyone what our procedure is in terms of publishing the agenda before the meeting so that
Yeah.
anyone who's curious about what's happening at the
It
next
goes on the
meeting.
website. If our meeting is on Monday, it goes on no later than Thursday at noon. Okay,
And we actually did have to knock on doors for these public input sessions about the playground. Because we didn't really know how to engage the community, so we actually went to a few key people and asked them to spread the word. So it's really difficult, like Karen said, we can't do that all the time, but in this case, we just needed, you know, as much feedback as possible, but if you could just continue to spread the word.
Right.
And follow along every month, even if it's just reading the agenda, at least you'll be apprised and your neighbors will be apprised of what's being discussed.
okay, no, we're moving on. We have other business to take care of.
Take down that I would.
I'm not gonna do that right now. I've got other stuff I've gotta get to. Send an email and we'll look at it, okay? Great. Lev, where are you? Parks usage request
Yes.
committee. You wanna use Giggle Park in the gazebo from 11 AM to 1:30 PM on Memorial Field from 1:30 to 3:30 for Indigenous Peoples' Day.
Yes.
Okay, explain.
Yes, this is the third year now that we've are requesting a permit for this event, and it's gonna hit the last 2 years, and we want to do it again. I have flyers here. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion or question? Mr. Gibbons?
Is Memorial Field gonna be available? I don't know if it's gonna work.
There's work that's starting to be done on that. Where is Mr., we gotta check with Mr. Aberdale, because that whole thing is being redone.
Where, in the outfield, we usually go in the gate.
The
In the
gate,
park, at the
the
skate
field,
park?
The whole thing is gonna be not available.
I don't know,
We don't know. I don't.
All right,
I don't know where Mr. Aberdale is, find him.
all right.
Let me find out. I don't know, Lev, but
Well, we could shift that part. If you approve it and you find out, or he's here, but we could shift that part to the basketball court at Railroad Street.
okay,
Because they let us use their basketball court for cabling afterwards anyway.
okay,
It's
do you,
nicer to do it on the field, on grass, but
who is your supporting person for insurance?
Wheeler and Taylor.
No, where's the copy of it?
And they only allow us to do it within a month, so we're still in the process of it with them. Also, I can send it to you.
Well, it's September 13th and you're looking for October 9th. That's a month.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still in conversation.
Well, that needs to happen.
Absolutely.
That's-
Yeah, we've had
that's-
insurance with them the last.
Okay, but all I'm saying is this can be provisionally approved as long as you get the,
Yeah, I'll get it to you within.
just get it to Carolyn, that's where to go.
Construction is gonna start on the ball field around October first.
You're gonna have to move it because it's
Okay.
October first
We'll move it to the playground. At.
to the basketball, yeah.
Basketball.
Any other questions, concerns, or issues? Great, we'll vote. Is Meyer still here? No, okay. All those in favor? Aye, opposed? Abstentions? Goodbye.
Thank
You're
you so
done.
much.
Thank you.
Rural recovery is postponed until October. Who's the Tonic Basketball League? Mr. Temple. Now, I know that there has been an agreement with the basketball tournament going on New Year's weekend, right?
Correct.
Okay, and that's okay with you?
Yep.
Okay. Other than that, the only other thing that's gonna change is they may start later on Sundays and pickleball may play on Sunday mornings because it's the only weekend day, depending on how things go. And Matt and I will be in discussion on that.
Talk about that.
Yeah, we're not having a big thing. The problem is we have pickleball during the week, but if people wanna play on the weekends, there's no access in the winter. So it'd be great if we had a couple of hours, even if it was early, before they played. So that was it. So other than that, any other questions, concerns, or issues?
I thought we used, and I'm all for this, but I thought we used it for the farmer's market.
Yeah, they know that,
But if we get blanket approval from 8 AM to 8 PM,
except for the Saturdays.
The Saturday once a month.
that's fine.
Yeah,
As long as everyone's.
Yeah, we
He's-
worked around that the last
Yeah.
meeting, so. it's-
Yeah, we don't have a problem with that. That's, that's what you're gonna approve.
Also, the men's are in there on Saturdays, but.
Saturday mornings, but they've got,
Talk to.
Yeah, I
Tom Jordan.
talked to them.
Tom Jordan and.
Right.
We're good.
It's already, Berkshire Grown's already approved it. I'll go through that, but it's 11/18, 12/16, 1/20, 2/17, 3/16, 4/20, from 10 to 2, and those are the days, and Matt knows that, so he's all cool with that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other concerns or issues?
Just a quick question, Matt, do you use the stack bar area still?
Yes.
Did the league sell?
Yes.
It does, okay. So then your request would include that area?
Correct, yeah.
Now, are they planning to use that? I think on their park request form, they said they're gonna use that. Are you gonna let them do that?
Berkshire Grown?
No, not Berkshire Grown, the tournament on New Year's weekend.
Oh, yeah, we never discussed that, but, I mean, I don't see why they,
I could have sworn I saw that on,
he at least never mentioned that to me. I don't see a problem with them using it.
Alright, why don't you
All
take,
their stuff's put away when we're not there anyway, so.
alright, stay in touch with me and let me know how that worked out.
Okay.
Any other questions? concerns, or issues? Yeah, what do you need, Garrett? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, we were just curious if we could use the snack bar, but it's not really a super important thing for the tournament.
I don't have a problem with them using the snack bar.
I think, Garrett, as long as you and Matt Chamberlain have met and go over this and it's okay, that's fine, but it better be neat and clean, because I don't wanna have to listen to him get upset about it.
Got it. You got it.
Very good.
I make a motion to approve.
So-
the dates.
Yes,
Just, I couldn't like, Matt, are you doing the board in this year?
So we haven't discussed that yet. I know in the past, we've always done the floor, but we were the sole group in the gym using the floor.
it's in good shape.
Now that all these other groups are in there, I'm not sure how we go about redoing the floor. We would do it once a year.
It's in
And
good
it's
shape, man. I'm there 3 days a week, 4 days.
It looks like it's in good shape, but once you start playing basketball and then you slip and slide around, it's always an issue.
Okay.
So I guess if you're willing to participate in it, we, you know, 'cause you guys paid for the material and labor, we donated, I think.
So, yeah, we paid for the material and he donated his labor.
Why don't we split it?
So, just so I'm clear, is your concern that there's not time to do it, or that it's other groups are doing it, they should share the burden?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're not the only group in there, so why should we have to pay for everything?
Right, I know, I can tell you that, Darren Carlson donates his labor. Last year, the cost for the material that we paid for was $1,600.
Yeah, I think I paid him for doing the pickleball, like, which is 5 or 6.
Yeah, he got.
And then you had a bill from him for doing the lines, but I know
Well, I think
the
it was-
material that he uses to refinish the floor, the check I wrote out to him was $1,600.
Well, I guess if the commission's okay with it, we'll discuss the need, and if it's needed, I'm sure.
Why don't you come back here and we'll see if we can swing them.
What I think is by the end of the year, it's gonna be needed if you don't do it at the beginning.
Right, I
So
mean,
I think you
in the
guys.
past, we've done it at the beginning of the season. And I understand we use the gym a lot more than these other groups, so we're definitely willing to chip in. But the fact that all these new groups are using the gym, I think.
Yeah, pickleball doesn't have any money, they don't, I mean,
Yeah,
Once,
exactly.
That's not his problem.
once the floor is done, it's easier to keep it maintained over the course of the year.
That's what I'm saying.
Keep it cleaned and, with the special mops that we use and everything.
Yeah, because what you don't wanna do is get to January and say, boy, I wish I had done that, because it's almost unpleasant.
well, why
So
don't,
let's work with Joe.
why don't you and Joe, and then get in touch with me, and if we need to bring it up here the next month, we'll do that. Let's take a vote. What? Do you need to go to the well?
No, they're not all today.
That's an inside joke. All right, all those in favor of Matt and his married children playing basketball?
Do you see,
Motion second.
there's Tom.
I thought you motioned.
It started with that, we make it very fun.
Well, I don't want to go into discussion. What is Tom, Jordan, what do you have to do with this? And you, Tom, and then that'll be the end. I'd like to get this meeting.
Sorry. I just wanted to say, Karen, we would be willing to contribute to the floor maintenance as well.
I love it when you want to come to the party and bring a cake. Thank you, Tom.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it was. All right, now, do we have we have a motion
Second.
and we have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Abstentions? Zero.
Abstain.
Next,
Abstain.
you're abstaining?
I have to abstain because I'm on the board of directors of the Housatonic
Are
Basketball.
you getting paid?
And I'm the treasurer.
Are you getting paid?
No.
He's right there.
All right, next,
Thank you.
Railroad Street, Marina Dominguez. Marina, what can we do for you?
Hi, how are you? So we are celebrating for the second year, the Immigrant Youth, Festival. We are celebrating actually the, Hispanic Heritage Month with Raider Street Youth Project. This is the second year that we are going to do it. It's going to be on Saturday, 23rd, 2 to 8 p.m.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions, concerns, or issues? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Unanimous. Next,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Happ and Mr. Tom Jordan. Basketball tournament, December 30th and 31st from 9 to 7. You've already talked to Matt.
30th or 31st.
30, no, I don't believe that's accurate. I thought he wanted both. It says or, but I thought it was and.
No, it should be both, December 30th and
Thank you.
31st.
I thought I was right. That's what I thought.
By the way,
Okay.
Karen, pardon me, Corey had to step out, something came up, so Garrett has a lot more information on this tournament. He's been working with Corey, so
That's great. I've talked to Corey. She called me at home. So Garrett, you did something down at Memorial Field. What's different about this?
Well, this will be in the Hoosie Dome, and it'll be less teams is the plan. Only 8 teams. We're gonna have actual referees, whereas the one down at the park, I kind of did all by myself, and I refereed all the games, and it was a lot. So we're gonna get money to actually pay for real referees, and yeah, it should be fun.
What are you doing about insurance, Coach?
Or I'm gonna get it again from the brewery.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
And I talked to Corey about this, and I'm gonna say it out loud. If you get the brewery to support this or sponsor it, it could be put on as just a part of doing business, so you don't have to take out a $250 liability policy. every time you wanna do a tournament.
All right.
And if your father's confused by that, tell him to call me and I'll explain how to do it.
All right. Sounds good.
I thought you'd say that.
What is the age level of this tournament?
So we were gonna say pretty much open to all age. We're not really targeting like kids as much, more like adults, high school, college age kids.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, I just was curious. as to
Okay.
what
The one that was down at the one that was down at the park, we had some people.
Was young.
Yeah. I can't jump.
Okay, I'll take a motion. Second.
Second.
Alright. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous, Carolyn, good job. Okay. Now, Berkshire men's basketball.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Jordan,
Yes.
how you doing? Are
I'm
you
good.
having a good time playing with all the old men?
Yes, we actually had a request before we dive in. Would it be possible to get a jacuzzi for next year?
Well, you've already offered to make to donate some money, so find out what the jacuzzi is and donate enough.
I'll guarantee you we'll donate the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you've already talked to, you and Matt are all set on this, right?
We are.
And again, I use the same statement. If you can find a business sponsor for this, then you don't have to pay for the insurance.
I'm trying to think who could sponsor us. Any ideas?
If you haven't figured it out by what I said about in the last 3 minutes, you are not paying attention.
I heard you loud and clear.
Adam,
Motion to approve.
second.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Very nice, unanimous, no. All right, great.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Everett, thanks, Tom. We have a couple more things to do. We should be out of here in 10 minutes. Mr. Everdale, can you update us on parks care and maintenance, and where are we with Memorial Field and the bid and everything else? I'll be right back.
Memorial Field bid is due on Thursday. I'm extended it 1 week because of some of the changes. And at the contractor's request, as part of that, we have enough, at the unitized contract, how many square yards is this done, how many meters is this done, so. As part of that, we included a second mobilization item to go down to the softball complex, or down softball field, and redo the infield for the fenced infield. So we'll know more later in the week how bids start out. The plan is to start by October 1. There's the contractors and get the infield up and growing this season. Some of the longer lead time items like the screening and stuff like that will fall for the spring. So we'll have springtime finish complete. Any questions on Memorial Field or anything else?
Yes.
You have a question over there.
I was just wondering about the Memorial Field project because I'm just hearing bits and pieces, but I don't really understand what the whole renovation is about.
So the field is getting redone, in the infield, the spots in the outfield, the outfield just outside the infield, there's some low spots that are all that treated, or filled back in and leveled up. There's handicap accessibility being installed coming down to the field. There's, 2 new dugouts being put in the screen, there's screening going along Bridge Street, screening along Co-op, so foul balls and stuff like that can go out.
And a new
Fencing, you mean? Like just,
It's a netting.
oh,
And a new backstop.
Yeah, the backstop may also be netting too.
Okay.
That can be raised and taken down in the winter.
Okay.
So it doesn't deteriorate. There'll be a screening installed, so if you have parents or something, you can go behind the dug or the backstop and how else the kids. So there'll be a visual screening put in there. The warning track is being redone, freshened up, dug out and put the gravel in. The warning track will continue along, I'll use the co-op fence line to make it like if someone wants to go down there and do a complete walk in the walking track. So it'll make it a little bit more.
Lot of stuff.
Usability. And I think there's 1 or 2 new features.
so it's really, it's principally about like the baseball and softball.
No, there's no softball.
Or just baseball.
It's a baseball.
Okay.
Bruce.
Babe Ruth and the wooden bat.
And Millers, yeah.
I know, but I'm hemming and hawing about that. Quick question.
Yeah, are the basketball courts involved in the whole Memorial Field?
No.
Scheme? When can they be added to that, or when can we talk about it?
In reference to what?
Redoing the basketball courts, that's the whole reason I'm here today, I mean, that we had a tournament there, I helped Jared with that, we had over 100 people there, all ages, it was an amazing turnout.
Yeah.
The court's in terrible shape, is what you're saying?
It's in terrible shape, and I mean, one of the hoops fell down last year, that's why there's just a pole sticking out of the ground. I mean, beyond that, super, unsafe for kids, I mean, they're leaning inwards. Anyone dumps one of those hoops, they're coming down,
Yeah, I think, once we get through the Grove Street, maybe as we did at the Dewey, we should look at that park there because there are listed improvements, even for the skate park area.
Okay.
that we need to consider.
Great.
Thank you.
Super.
Okay, that's good.
And it's on Joe's radar, so that's good.
Can I
What?
make a quick comment, Karen, because we were
About
approached,
what?
we were approached about this Memorial Field project and planting trees. We were approached by Chris.
Not
No.
now.
Okay, no, I was just wondering, since it's starting in October, is that something that should be discussed?
Next spring.
Great.
I've already dealt with Christopher Wiltshire. I've already let Mr. Aberdale know. You guys wanna put in trees there, that's ducky do, but we're not doing anything until we've got the field redone. Then we'll put in trees, and that's next spring.
Yeah, no, it's not me, it's just that I was approached by Chris with.
I know, and
Yeah.
he wrote me and called me, and we talked, I said, no, not now, let us get through getting this thing done, okay?
Understood.
Great. Anything else, sir?
Oh, yeah, I just share with you,
For a minute.
Karen, and I'll share with Rusty what Karen and I talked about it, but, we will start later this week where we got the vinegar and salt and the on solution, we're gonna hit the fields down at the league field. We're not gonna do Memorial Field because it's being redone. We plan on hitting it 2 or 3 times, we have a power rake on order, to mix up, to stir up the soil, so hopefully we'll be maintaining it off season for the groups, and then that season comes around, if we need to go down there and tow it with a power rake, I think much like you guys do up by football. We'll do that down with it too.
Tom, just so you know, that we ordered agricultural vinegar. Instead of being 3%, it's 30%. So that with the Dawn and the salt should. You were saying, oh, well, we ought to do this, we ought to do this. That's as much as we're gonna do. I still expect that league next spring, if they need to get in there and clean it up after we've dug it up, that they're gonna do that. Cause you're getting a free ride now. Okay? And the new machinery should be here, the power rake to clean that up.
Well, I always thought that once we let those people use, they should be responsible for the maintenance for the whole time that
Well,
they are using.
They've dropped the ball again.
Well, we give it to them, they should give it back to us the way we gave it.
I know,
That's what I.
right, and I should be 27 again.
Oh.
Nah.
The way it goes,
Go ahead, Joe.
I'll just share. I keep this thought. I think the moments needs to have to be done on the entire so we don't put more time in taking water. Water is not a service, but the back service, things like that. So I have that on my list if there's ever anything you think about being added to that.
Thank you. Okay. Berkshire South. Are they here? I don't know who that guy is.
I don't see any hands up.
Berkshire South.
The only thing we have open with Berkshire South is shows the light guys, I think until
No.
they were done at the Labor Day.
There, yeah, that's right.
Oh, we've seen the invoicing.
I think we need to get Denise on this and find out where they were and what, we should have an end of year report.
Yeah.
Road Street Youth. Devin. I knew that name. Go ahead, Devin, what do you got?
Oh, hello. I only have a few things. One, I just wanted to let you guys know we switched over to our fall hours for staffing, and everything is very good on that end. We did, I was just told recently that the shed has been damaged. There's one window that is cracked and then one of the doors isn't closing properly. I'm unsure of any other details right now. I only just got informed.
Devin, stop. Are you talking about, he's talking about the shed at, down there?
Yes, in the skate park, yes.
Alright, so Joe's putting it on his, I better go check it out list. Good. What else you got,
Awesome.
Coach?
And then I just had one question. I was just curious when you guys would like our seasonal skate park report by, if you have a date
Next
for
month.
that. Next month,
When do you
the
close?
19th or?
When
Sorry?
do you close, Devin? When do you stop working?
We close the skate park staffing hours October 31st.
Well, then I would suggest in November. How about that?
Is there any specific date or just in November?
November 13th is our meeting.
Yeah, you should
November
have it
13th?
submitted
Awesome, thank you.
November 13th. That's before
Awesome, thank you.
Thanksgiving for those who are keeping track.
Amazing. And that is all from me.
Marvelous. I'm gonna skip the new business for a second. I just want you all to know where it says already approved. Park and Rec, a year and a half or 2 years ago, when things were having to be decided off cycle, Mark and I review it and approve it. We'd already approved the use of the Housatonic Community Center for the farmers market because, first of all, that program couldn't get any better. It's great in my estimation. They're clean, they're neat, and everything else.
I would say this, I still think that the rules were that approve it if it wasn't within cycle. They don't start in November.
Yeah, but they need,
There's no reason.
excuse me, Mr. Bannon, I'm gonna tell you that we were asked by Mrs. Moulton, and she's here, I think, that they needed to get their contracts out with their people. So we can take a vote on it right now if you wish. That's fine.
Is it the same rental fee?
Yes,
Okay.
Are we doing the same agreement as last year?
exact same agreement. And they'll pull the mats out and tape it down and clean it out, just like they did last year. So do you want to take another motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay. And we also did the summer jam that Garrett was talking about, because that was definitely off cycle, and it worked out really well, and he provided insurance, and it worked out well. And also to let you know that, the Lake Mansfield Alliance installed 2 brand new benches down at Lake Mansfield with pretty pictures of Christine and Greg sitting on the benches, so those are there. So we just let that happen, okay? New business. CPC appointment for Parks and Rec.
I want to appoint Karen Smith.
Second.
What is CPC? Sorry.
You're gonna get a disciplinary action.
It's really important that we,
What are?
CPC is the Community Preservation Committee.
Right.
That is, there are 9 of us that come from the Select Board, Finance, Housing, and we review requests for money based on 3 things: affordable housing, open space and recreation, and historical preservation. There's a whole litany of things that people must meet. Okay?
For CPA grants, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You're with me
I
now?
am.
Okay.
I didn't know about this process, this part of the process.
I have to be appointed, anointed, and whatever's by the Park and Rec Commission, because I am the representative to CPC from.
From the Parks Commission. Great. Yes.
Any other questions, concerns, or issues? We just went through our emergency requests, which are gonna be held at the October 23rd town meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous. Citizen speak. Yes, sir.
Can I just ask a couple of questions?
First of all, I gotta know who you are.
Okay, I'm Gary Pratt from Rural Recovery.
Oh, good. I've been wanting to meet you. Good.
We've met before.
Recovery.
We met before last year
Okay,
Smash the signal. So I just need some clarification on how I get this approved, because last month the meeting was canceled, so I couldn't come last month. Through email communication, I haven't gotten any answers about tonight. Like, I sent an email about how we had to postpone to October 21st because we didn't have approval for September 23rd, this coming weekend. So I'm not sure if I have to amend our application.
I got an email from Carolyn who said you did not want us to discuss it
I
tonight.
didn't say that. I asked for clarification on what I need to do.
So since it's on the agenda, do you want to do it October
I
21st?
would love to do that.
I make a motion to approve rural recovery for October 21st.
Second.
Great. Any
23rd.
questions, concerns, or issues? Wait a minute, hold on.
So that, so this weekend is no question. All right.
No, no. So, okay, have you submitted insurance?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just give us a snapshot of what you're gonna do?
Yeah, it's the exact same event that we had here last.
I don't remember. Can you just?
Yeah, so, you know, it's basically a fair, but it has a community resource fair. We'll probably get a food truck or two. An ambulance from the Southern Berkshire Volunteer Ambulance Squad will come, probably the Berkshire Harm Reduction Mobile Unit will come, and then we'll have a few speakers. Last year was Smitty Pignatelli and Jenny Michaels from the Green Center, a couple other people. We'll have a small sign holding rally right in front of the town hall. We marched up and down Main Street, stood in front of what is now NBT Bank, came back here, had a little bit of music at the gazebo, hand out free ice cream from Soko Creamery, that kind of thing, so.
If you have food trucks, do we need to have a,
They'll be permanent.
Good.
Yeah.
He'll get an.
okay, yeah, Board of Health.
And he's got time to do that.
Okay, you got plenty of time. Any other questions, concerns, or issues? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? You're done.
Awesome, thanks so much.
Anybody else, citizens? Commissioners, Alana,
Can I just make a request that Carolyn post the date for the next meeting on this this month's
he
agenda?
normally does. That's what's weird about this. You're right. It's usually check the minutes.
It's in the minute, I mean, it would just be really helpful.
A lot of times they'll just post the next 3 meetings.
That'd be great. That would
Okay.
be so helpful.
So what we're gonna ask procedurally, Carolyn, if you could put the next 3 minutes, the next 3 meetings at the bottom of the agenda and also at the bottom of the minutes.
So when is the next meeting?
October 13th.
I think it's the second one, next one.
It's definitely.
What is it?
The 9th,
March is the 16th.
the 16th, right?
Yes. So the third Monday. The 16th.
Why am I getting texts from people
October
telling me it
16th.
passed?
October 16th.
Well, that was me. I just was, because Bill said he would have done it. That's all.
He gave us an email, so
Okay,
I got it. So
it's October what?
16th.
Third one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you gave us an email.
October 16th, November 13th, and December 11th.
Great.
You want that again?
Yes.
October 16th, November 13th, December 11th.
So third week, second week, second.
We don't mind.
Got
I
it.
do. Select board.
November.
Okay, we'll do that. That sounds right now.
No,
Any other,
December 11th.
Julie, you have anything you wanna say?
No, no,
Tom,
No, thank.
Terry?
Yeah, let's see, that we jump right into Grove Street. I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I love it when you do that.
I
All,
second him, yeah.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Great, that's unanimous, Carolyn, we went way out of order.
And the only other thing I have a question on is, our last meeting was canceled and all we got was an email that the meeting was canceled. No explanation of why or anything. It's just curious.
It was canceled. That's as much as I'm gonna give you. I'll be glad to tell you privately why,
Okay,
but I'm not going to say it publicly.
okay,
Okay,
personal reasons.
there, see, you got it, you covered it beautifully. Mr. Gibbons, anything?
No, not at this time.
Nothing.
Mr. Vanian?
Nothing.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Say goodbye now. Goodbye now.
Thank you.
Nicely done.